Welcome to another episode of Hoosier Nerds Podcast with your host, Tim, Mikey, and the two Chris's, but we are Timless tonight. So it is Mikey and the two Chris's. I'm hosting tonight. This is Chris with a K. So we will just kind of jump into things and start chatting away and see what we can come up with for this episode that we are going to kind of churn out for you in a little short notice here. First up, what do we want to talk about, guys? You want to talk about Sinister first? Since it's Halloween time. We got a week till Halloween, basically, 6 days away by recording time. So we've been trying to watch scary movies this month. And Mike, you watched Sinister this past week. And,
yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I read on it was kind of went viral on Twitter, I guess, just maybe a tiny bit. They kind of announced Sinister as the scariest movie of all time because after a poll or something, or they did a study where it increased the heart rates of the viewers more than any other movie. So I decided to watch it, and I did watch it, and I've watched it before, but it was like when it first came out, and I didn't remember it that well. But once I started watching it, I did remember it.
This movie came out. First off, it came out in 2012, which is 8 years ago, and I'm surprised more people don't talk about this movie at Halloween. It stars Ethan Hawke and Juliet Rylance, along with Fred Thompson, and it's about a guy. He's a true crime writer, and he, according to IMDb, and you can go into this more, Mikey. So he's just a washed-up true crime writer. He finds a box of Super 8 home movies in his new home that suggests the murder that he is currently researching is the work of a serial killer whose work dates back to the 1960s.
Yeah, it's like I would just like to point out, like, he found that the box of Super 8 film like in his attic, and it was all alone. Why would you go open that? There is no way I would immediately toss that. I'd be like, no thanks. I ain't even playing anything in there.
But it might be their old homemade,
Well, yeah, that's probably what he's hoping for. And he comes
I mean, all the reels, I guess, were labeled with, like, they were innocently labeled like lawn care or summer camp or whatnot, or just
totally homework file,
or home barbecue or whatever. So, but and all had different families in it, which is weird. But so I guess I took a few notes. It was while watching it, and just what I point out, like maybe what's made it scary. I know in most scary movies, I kind of like watch the background. Like, it always focuses, like, it'll bring the protagonist or whatnot, or okay, we could say protagonist. It'll bring them to the foreground, and then they always got something happening behind it. Like, especially in this movie, like, you get people walking across the hallway, or maybe like something creepy in the background. So I always watch that, and that happened a lot. Didn't bother me though. And it's always dark in that house. It's always dark. Like, why don't you turn on the lights? Like, I would have the lights on. Unless I'm getting ready for bed. But
I know the basis is he usually, when he writes a book about a true crime, he moves to the city where the crime occurs.
Yeah.
But in this instance, he moves into the house where the crimes have occurred. Which there's no way I would. No. I mean, and that's like, if you knew that there were a murder going on in a house that you were looking at to buy, would you buy that house?
I got a question. Are we white? Then yes.
And it's funny because his wife was like, he asked him, like, did we just move into a house that were two doors down from the where the crime occurred? And he's like, no. Like, he answered the question correctly. Like, they didn't move in the house 2 doors down. They moved in the house.
They moved in the house where it occurred.
Yeah. So, so
I
it
like.
doesn't get cooperation from the
I
cops.
do. I do like to. I mean, it is a edge of your seat film. It really is, and that build up. It builds up kind of slowly, which I like. It's more of like a torture kind of thing instead of getting right to the hacking and the slashing sometimes. But um, I had it on my top 5 scary movies of all time, and it's still one of my favorites.
I can't remember if it's on my list, but I know it's definitely up there as like one of the best. Like
It's
I meant to watch it this week, but just other things came up and never got around to watching it. But it is like incredibly intense.
it's definitely creepy because I think I wrote down like it was. I felt like it was kind of like a puzzle. Like even the viewers were trying. I don't think if you were watching it the first time, I don't think you could predict what was going to happen, or you didn't know who the killer was, or whatnot, or how it was going to go until the very end, where you really saw what was going on. Um,
That's the one where
it,
there's like a demon. Should I spoil it? It was 2012.
Well, I mean, most people have probably seen it, I would say.
Okay,
But
Sinister's the one where like there's like a demon in the footage, right?
yeah,
Okay,
yes,
just getting all my thoughts right because I keep trying to remember what happened in the movie and I just can't seem to like put the movie because I always get Sinister and Insidious mixed up for some
yeah.
reason.
Insidious is the kid, though, right?
Yeah,
And
Insidious
it's
is the one
like,
where like he's stuck in like the dream world or something.
yes.
One interesting thing is the budget for the movie was $3 million, and they made close to 90 million back.
For
So
that movie, really,
yeah, so it definitely made its money. There's no ifs,
obviously.
ands, or buts about that. I never realized it was such a low budget film, though.
Oh no, me neither. But I mean, I'm sure.
Didn't have enough. They had to find some budget in there for lights. I swear to God, it was like see, it was like episode 3 of Game of Thrones. You couldn't see nothing. It was
But
terrible.
I don't. What is it playing on any streaming platform for free, or do you have to rent it?
I actually like I saw this news on Twitter like it was like the scariest, and then I was just flipping through the channels, looking at the guide, and I saw it was coming up like it was about the show on what I forget what channel it was, uh, like Fox or something. And,
Oh, really? So it was just kind of a
yeah, so I ended up recording it, so I
that's
just watched it on my DVR.
Sinister
that.
is on Amazon, Google, Apple. Yeah, it's probably it's not free anywhere. It's all you
It's
gotta
all
pay.
rented. But I mean,
Yeah, it was just convenient for me.
they're all are on every streaming service, which is kind of exciting. I've got what streaming services I have. There are all kinds of movies, documentaries, uh, mockumentaries, which are fake, you know, fake documentaries that are made into movies on all streaming platforms. So there's plenty of scary stuff to watch out there. Um, whatever your taste is, whether it's Disney and Hocus Pocus, or you can, like, I'm on Amazon Prime now, and here's one called The Evil of Nowhere. It's a documentary that follows paranormal enthusiasts travel to a haunted farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. So, anything that floats your boat, from slasher films to family movies to ghost movies to documentaries, they've got you covered. And speaking of got you covered and um, streaming services, it was announced that the Charlie Brown cartoons, which is the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, and Charlie Brown Christmas, have been purchased and moved to Apple TV or Apple Plus. So you cannot see them on regular TV this year. Now I don't know how disappointing. I mean, I'm not sure. Do I always watch the Charlie Brown cartoons because I always have since I was a kid, and I'm guessing it's a push to get people to purchase the Apple Plus. But is it going to work?
I'm not going to because I honestly don't care about the Charlie Brown movies or cartoons.
But if
Charlie
you had,
Brown's
but
really
if you had,
overrated, in
if
my opinion.
hey, those cartoons are good. But yeah, I mean, come on, everybody knows he got a rock. Did you get rocks as a kid, trick or treating, and that's why you don't like movies?
No, like legit. We would have to watch like every year. We had to watch like the Christmas special or the Halloween special or whatever the special was in like school. You know, like they
Yeah.
do like, hey, let's go watch a movie in the auditorium. And I was so uninterested. I fall asleep.
So okay, so the question is, so I'm guessing they did this as a strategy move. I mean, but if you had kids, wouldn't you watch it with the kids, or would you watch like I'd probably watch Scream with the kids, my kids. But
Would I watch Charlie Brown if I had kids?
would you watch Charlie Brown if you had kids? Would you watch?
No, because I would let them watch something better.
Wow,
I'd put on like the Scooby Doo Christmas special or something.
what else?
But
Such a
let's
I
be
don't-
honest with that one.
I'd only watch it for Snoopy.
they're decent cartoons. I enjoy it. So what you're saying? So this is not going to drive people to get an Apple Plus subscription. That is what you're saying.
Yep. Apple
Because
Plus
what
is dead.
because they're letting people like they're going to be on so you can sign up for Apple Plus and they're like good for like a week.
Wait,
So
hold on. So you sign up for Apple Plus and then you have to pay again to watch these things?
no. They're showing these episodes, and I'm going to guess it's going to be just this year. They're going to show these episodes free,
Okay.
but you have to sign up for Apple Plus. But I'm betting because of streaming services that you would have to sign up to watch them starting next year and the year after. They're not going to be free after this year. I think it's just
Yeah.
a way to get people to sign up for Apple Plus.
Okay.
I mean, I had Apple Plus for a year because I got an iPhone, and I like canceled my subscription like 2 months into it because I never watched it.
I got a question for you guys with all these streaming services. Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? Because I know we've discussed this before, like on other like the other podcast like last year. I didn't mean to bring it up, but whatever. And I kind of had my mind changed and like, hey, it's kind of a good thing, but it's getting to the point where I'm spending as much on like all my streaming services as I am on like cable bills.
Right. I'm leaning towards it's a bad thing. There's such a thing, and maybe because it was when I was the time I was raised. I don't know, but when you had less of a choice to watch, the better off you were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice where, I mean, you can tell me, Chris, you got to watch this show. It's awesome. I'll never get around to it because I'm too busy watching all these other shows.
It's the same thing with like Raised by Wolves. I thought it was amazing and like finished it all the way through, and you gave it like one episode. And like, I got other
No,
shows.
it was
to watch.
2 episodes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but still, you gave it like no time to let marinate.
Exactly. That's the thing. There's no, and I mean, there are some good, and how many shows out there that are really good that nobody's watching, and that they've come on, say Netflix or whatever, and they're on for a year, and they're canceled.
Plenty.
I mean, there's got to be plenty of them out there. So all this money is going to it, and I don't see how it can sustain itself. I mean, they're saying cable's dead and people are cutting the cord, but
We're cutting the cord because we can't afford to have both.
right.
I don't know. I do agree with kind of what we talked about before about how on a streaming service they have a better chance. Like a show has a better chance to survive on a streaming platform than it does on TV. On TV, if it has one bad like half a season, it's cut. It's done. But on a streaming platform, like what's the show? There's been plenty of shows. I can't think of any shows right now that it's like it should have been ended like 2 seasons ago, but because it's on Netflix, they're giving it an extra season or something like that.
Like Designated Survivor when they moved it from HBO
Yeah.
to Netflix, but it only lasted a season, didn't it?
Yeah, but that's one extra season than it probably, would have gotten on TV anyways.
Now, what about Cobra Kai? Now, is YouTube Red basically dead now?
For the most part, they've kind of changed it up.
Because Cobra Kai was on YouTube Red, and now it's moved for season 3. It has moved to Netflix.
YouTube Reddit has been dead since they canceled PewDiePie season 2.
Well,
Scared
there's a
PewDiePie.
reason they canceled PewDiePie season 2.
They could easily bring it back. All right.
Well,
And they
but
choose
then
not
the
to.
bridge incident will happen.
No, it won't.
But then you've got like Quibi, which was dead before it even started.
I actually think Quibi is making a name for itself now.
I'm telling you, those few shows that I watched on there were really good, and it
Can I just
adds up.
say we seem to be ahead of the curve on everything. We just don't get any of the credit.
Like, right?
We're talking about Quibi, and I guarantee you, here in like a few weeks, everybody's gonna be like, you know what you should do? You should get Quibi and watch the show. It's really good.
Yeah.
We only talked about it last month.
I've heard a lot of good things about Peacock too, but I don't know.
Peacock is
anything
just
about it.
CBS, isn't it?
No, it's
Oh,
NBC.
really?
NBC.
Oh, okay.
Peacock is NBC.
Oh, I see. Like CBS
And I got-
All Access. Okay.
Yeah, I got CBS All Access just for Star Trek.
But I think I'll flip the coin and say I like streaming service because you don't get all those boring commercials, especially during now with all the political commercials. Screw all those.
If you pay extra for now, a lot of them are like, hey, you either
Yeah.
can pay $9 and get ads, or pay $12 and get no ads.
Yeah. And then it gives actors, actresses a spotlight that they maybe won't ever achieve in other like other TV shows or whatnot. I mean, it gives them another avenue, and comedians too. I mean, Netflix has tons of comedy specials
True.
and whatnot.
Well, like Amazon showing, because I'm on Amazon right now, is showing the new Borat movie,
Yeah,
which
Would
I
we
did
ever
watch
have
part of
gotten
that.
I
Would we
don't
know how
ever have
that's
gotten
real.
Dave Chappelle back without Netflix?
have we got what?
Yeah,
Would we have gotten another Dave Chappelle special without Netflix?
I mean, true. And you had the Adam Sandler special,
Yeah.
which he toured, and that was
stand
on
up Adam
Netflix.
Sandler is electric.
So for sure.
I think Chris Rock did one. Eddie Murphy, I think he did one too.
Jim Gaffigan is big on Netflix, and so is that that
I thought he
Italian
switched
guy.
to it,
What's his name? Santo.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
I
No.
think so. But I can't think of his name right now because it's Italian.
Yeah. They all get that's where they get that start. But it can be a killer. Didn't Amy Schumer do a Netflix show and
Yeah,
it died?
Good.
So well, true.
We can
yeah,
only
but-
take so many vagina jokes.
true. And she was in some tight leather that did not look appealing.
But, I mean, like, okay, so I've got 3 streaming services, which is one is temporary, which is Prime, because I bought stuff on Prime Day, and so I got this free for 30 days. Then I got HBO and I got Disney, but I have other people watching those apps, so I'll probably keep those 2. So I'll have to drop Prime. But I'm enjoying Prime because there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of documentary stuff. Speaking of one that came up, I was watching this of Halloween movies. It's called Hell House LLC. And there's 3 movies in this series. Those are really good. And
I
it's
didn't
like
see it, but when we were watching Demon House, it was like, you might like this. And I was like, all right, I'll check that out here soon.
it is good. It is really good. I highly recommend it. And it's like a fake documentary about these people that build a haunted house in this old haunted hotel in New York, and it's pretty good actually. So I highly recommend it. Actually, no, is that Hell House? Or is that the other one? That was the other one where they go and look for. I don't know. I've watched so many.
Jeez.
But well, I've been stacking up on all the horror movies, and and since we're talking about streaming services and people staying at home, I'm going to segue into. I drove down to Indianapolis this past week to go see Riff Tracks, and they watched a movie called Jack O, which is about this this guy with a pumpkin head that goes around with this, was it a scythe, a skith? Is that what it is?
Scythe.
Side.
Yeah. So I don't know.
God.
Anyway, so they So apparently, so like this guy destroyed him. He killed him back in the 1800s, and he buried him on his land. And the he comes back somehow. He comes back to life. So like the generational, like the great great grandson is the only one who can kill this Jacko pumpkin head guy, and it's like a 12-year-old kid. And this movie came out in 1995. It was filmed in the Orlando area. It was filmed in Apopka and Zellwood, and it is horribly bad, which every Riff Tracks movie is. So I wouldn't even. I've seen tons of Riff Track movies. I would not recommend watching this without the Riff Tracks. That's how bad it is.
They did Starship Troopers, and Starship Troopers is a classic.
They did Starship Troopers, and it is great. And
I can never look at that movie the same though now.
but I can also, but we also watch Jaws with Riff Tracks too. So, if you remember.
So how does Riff Tracks work? Because I mean, I've never watched one, but I've seen ads because I worked at the movie theater before, so I've always seen ads about them. But
okay, so Riff Tracks is born from the people of Mystery Science Theater 3000. So
yeah.
if for those of you who don't know, Mystery Science Theater 3000 was a TV show in the 90s where these two mad scientists take this guy that works with them, and they shoot him in a rocket into space, and they torture him with bad movies. So instead of escaping, he builds robot friends, and him and his robot friends are forced to go into a theater at a certain time to watch these horrible movies, and they comment and make fun of the movie while they watch it. And we've all done that,
Yeah.
We've all watched bad movies and made fun of them. So when that show ended, they started Riff Tracks. You have the guys who did the robots and Mike Nelson. They do Riff Tracks. The guy who did the two mad scientists, which is Frank Conniff and Trace Beaulieu, they are called the Mads, and they tour the country, and you can go see them perform live. I saw them perform at a Comic-Con in Elkhart, Indiana, where we watched a movie with Chuck Connors. And they do live riffing. And also the original Man Shot into Space, who was Joel Hogsett, I think his name. He tours with Mystery Science Theater 3000. So you can see the robot guys and him. And he did No Retreat, No Surrender last year at Clues Hall in Indianapolis. They tour live. But Riff Tracks is pretty much the staple. They make fun of movies, and you can just download the audio of them making fun of the movie. So if you own the movie, you can. So like everybody, like if you own Star Wars, any of the Star Wars movies, you can download the audio of them making fun of it, and they'll tell you when to push play, and they make fun of the movie while you watch the movie. Or like me, if you know the websites, somebody's already synced them together, and you can watch the movies. They do about 3 live shows a year where they create them at the Belcourt Theater in Nashville. They do them live, and then they send them out to via satellite to movie theaters. So they had 3 planned this year, and they got the one in. It wasn't live, but it's still better than nothing. And it was like me and like 6 other people in the theater.
Jeez.
And that place was dead. It was Castleton, which, Castleton's a big mall in Indianapolis. It's the main movie theater. So it's a pretty popular movie theater. It was a Wednesday night, but still there was nobody there. And I can't stress this enough. People have got to get back to the movie theater. You've got to get back to the movie theater. You buy candy, buy soda. Yes, it's expensive, but support your movie theater, because everybody loves a movie with a $300 million budget, like all the Avengers movies. And if movie theaters die, these kind of movies are going to go away, because how are they going to finance them? Because people aren't going to pay to watch them at home. You're not going to have. I just don't see them paying $30. Like Chris, Chris is by himself. He's not going to pay $30 for the movie to come out. He's going to wait till it comes out on stream for free.
I know if they would have made these movies like $6, I would have I would rent them $10 maybe even to rent them to watch them at home.
Right.
But $30, I understand. It's like, hey, it's like a family of 3 type of thing is what it's kind of for. I'm like, nah, not really. Let's be honest with you there.
I mean,
Not everybody is a family of 3. Some of us is, Chris lonely at home by himself watching movies.
I won't do it either. I will not.
Now,
pay
which
that kind of
Chris
money.
are we talking about?
Both of us, man. I'm telling you, I won't do it either. And I mean, and that even comes into play. Like, if we're in this situation now, I mean, they've already pushed back Bond, and they've pushed back Top Gun, and they've pushed back Dune.
The Quiet Place.
They pushed all those back. Are they going to say, okay, well, we've decided to do it on demand, and you can see Dune for $30? I am not paying $30. I wouldn't pay $30 to see James Bond. Exactly. That's what they're missing. So, are they going to bank on? I mean, those movie companies rely on box office to finance movies for the future. Are they going to rely on video on demand to finance these movies in the future? Is that going to be the goal? Are people just so used to sitting at home and not going out and going to the movies that they just quit going to the movies?
I think my problem is there's not a movie that really makes me want to go out and watch it at a theater. At least not yet. I mean, the only thing that people might be interested in is maybe like The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know that's a popular one, even though I've never seen it. And right now, since it's almost Halloween, The Conjuring. I mean, that's another one. But I mean, there's not a lot on here that's
Well, I mean, there's
attracting people.
no, there's not a lot of. I mean, well, yeah, like you said, you've got they're showing Boss Baby and Monsters Inc. But you can watch these on demand. I mean, are those really the movies that you go, like me and Chris went and seen Empire Strikes Back. That's a movie that people will go see. Last Christmas, we went to see Christmas Vacation at the movies. That theater was packed, if you remember.
Yeah, it was. I haven't seen that packed since like the Star Wars or Avengers movies.
Right. So, I mean, there are certain movies that they release that people will go back out and see. But, I mean, the new movies we got out now, The Empty Man, Honest Thief, and The War with Grandpa. And then
The War with Grandpa is the only one I would be willing to go see.
Right.
And even that, I'm like, I can just wait till it's out.
And then there's a new movie out called Come Play that starts this. It's on this Friday. And then they're showing Alita Battle Angel, Conjuring 2, and Monsters Inc. and Nightmare Before Christmas. That's the other older movies. Those don't interest me. I don't want to see it. I could care less if I go see those.
And
I've seen The Conjuring and I've seen The Conjuring 2. So that doesn't drive me back to the theater. Now, if you want to show, honestly, I mean, this is just me. Show old movies. Show old Dracula movies. Show the Bela Lugosi movies. People would probably go see those.
Speaking of old Dracula movies, I was at the museum. We were doing Dark Pages, which is like a scary. I don't want to say it's a haunted mansion at the museum, but it's kind of like just like a scary story, kind of. And in like the waiting area before like we took you on your tour, we were playing Nosferatu, and I sat there and actually watched Nosferatu for a while.
Really?
And it was creepy in the sense that it was like just his presence.
Right.
But I don't know. It's not a class. It's not nothing too scary. It's just.
Well, no, but I mean it was scary. It was scary in its day. I mean,
yeah. It's for anyone who doesn't know what Nosferatu is, it's like the original Dracula movie made in like the 20s or the 10s.
Mm-hmm.
When did it come out?
It's a silent film, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a silent film.
Well, I know Dracula with Bela Lugosi
came out in 1922.
Really?
Yeah.
And then Dracula with, when did it come out? Dracula came out in 1931 with Bela Lugosi.
Mm-hmm.
It's an hour and 15 minutes. That's still a good movie. And I mean, even the original Frankenstein. And, maybe show those kind of movies. Bring the Star Wars movies back. Like I said, we went to see Empire. We were excited to see Empire. How about Dirty Harry? Bring back those old movies. Get some older people to go out. They might see, oh, hey, Dirty Harry's playing at the theater. Let's go see it. Or it introduces people to those characters that are iconic, movie characters from the history of film. Anything. Bring back Wrath of Khan. I don't know how to fix stuff like this, but make the movie make the tickets cheap. Put $5 tickets on them, and then you'll make your money in concessions. Because if people pay less at the movie, they're more likely to buy food. So, that's that's about all you can do. But I can't. And didn't even Stephen King tweet about people need to go back to the theater? Did we not have a
No,
tweet about?
he tweeted that people shouldn't go back to the theater.
No, he tweeted that we needed to go. I thought he tweeted we
Did he?
have to go.
No, hold on. I'm gonna look this up. 'Cause I'm pretty sure he tweeted
I'm
it.
doing the same thing. So,
But I don't know. People need to start going back to the movies, but I don't think movie theaters are gonna die. It's gonna really kill off some of them. But sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time because I suck. No, here it is, right here. His tweet. As soon as it loads up, I went to the movies last night, first time since February. No problem, social distancing. Saturday night, 7 screens, 4 total customers, including me and my nephew. I feel terrible for the film industry. So yeah, and that was October 11th. He said that.
so
I thought he said something against it, or maybe that was someone
no,
else.
no.
Maybe there was someone else, some other big blue check mark that said something against it.
I'm sure there was. People always got something to say.
Yeah,
Unfortunately. Should we talk about the new Ghost Adventures episode?
Yes, I do want to talk about that. So
I haven't heard anything about it.
okay, so
I know they usually do a Halloween special, so
it's on Thursday, the 29th. This coming Thursday. Zach Bagans has, like all of us during quarantine, we all flocked to Netflix to watch the Tiger King documentary. Most of us did anyway. Did we all watch it? I know I did. I watched it twice.
yeah.
Because it was
what? Sorry.
The Tiger King.
The
No,
Tiger King.
I still haven't seen it because
Dude, you've
I
got
feel like
to watch it.
I feel like it was ruined for me by everyone talking about it and the memes.
No, you just got to watch it. Trust me on this. You have to watch it.
It's funny because I feel like, and I've heard this before. It's like nobody thinks it should have even took off, but the only way it took off like it did and went viral just because everybody was in quarantine and it just sat inside.
It grabs you by the balls and you will binge watch it. Like you can't stop watching it. That's the kind of show it is. So with that being said, there's a guy, his name is Joe Exotic, and he had a tiger zoo, and he called himself the Tiger King. And Zach and the gang go to Joe Exotic Zoo for a ghost hunt, and apparently they've got some pretty big things coming out of the investigation. So I am very excited about this particular episode. I would rather watch these than, I mean, I know they've been under quarantine, so it's probably hard for them to investigate anyway. But they've been riff tracking their old episodes basically with Scream Room, where they go back and they review old episodes and talk about them. So I am excited for one. I'm excited for a new season and a new episode of Ghost Adventures, and also we get an investigation at Joe Exotic, the Joe Exotic Zoo.
I haven't watched Ghost Adventures in a while. I think it's because they stopped putting the episodes on Netflix. And
It's on the Travel Channel. Ain't you got cable?
I do. I just don't like watching it with the ads. Legit like the first 5 seasons when they were on Netflix. I like binge watched it all, and then I just couldn't watch it with ads. It just took me out.
If you download it, if you download the Travel Channel app and watch it that way, if you watch it within like the first few days that it's aired, then you don't have ads and you just watch it straight through.
Does she know she's an ad?
So, but I am excited about Ghost Adventure starting back up again. We can all tell something we can get excited about.
That's an order.
Yes, because Zach's the best one out there as far as investigating and stirring the pot and getting these.
I mean, we've only been saying that for 3 weeks, 4 weeks now about Zach Bagans.
I know he should be paying us for the amount of time we talk about him. You know.
What were you gonna say, Monkey?
I'm just curious to like what kind of evidence they can find there. I mean, the only person that at least I know of that besides tigers, but what kind of I don't know if they can have ghosts or whatnot. But the only person that really possible to kill himself was the guy who killed himself there.
Well, yeah, but they did say that there were some bones, supposedly.
Oh,
I mean, Carol Baskins killed her husband, so
whacked him.
but not
Don't
there
tell
at
me
that
that didn't
zoo.
happen.
It's
Carol
not gonna be
Baskin.
there at that zoo. So.
Yeah, she's down in Tampa. Old Joe Exotic, who ran for governor of Oklahoma, is in Oklahoma. He's in jail now because they said that that's what the documentary is about, is that he was going to, he wanted to knock off Carol Baskin because Carol Baskin was a troublemaker and trying to get his zoo shut down. And it's not just him. There's Doc Antlays on there, and he just got in trouble recently.
Yeah. If they don't have an interview with Joe Exotic himself, then I ain't watching. If I ain't watching Ghost Adventures ever again.
So, from what I understand, you can write to Joe in jail, and you can sign the thing to try to get him pardoned by the president. But if you write to Joe Exotic, he will write you back. There's a guy I know, there's a guy I used to work with, and he wrote a letter to Joe Exotic, and Joe Exotic wrote him a letter back. and he signed it. So
that's awesome.
For all you autograph seekers out there, you want Joe Exotic's autograph? He'll write you. He'll even write your personal letter. So,
yeah, tell him Happy Halloween and Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas for
send him a Christmas card. I'm sure he would.
For the next 5 years,
or 10, or however long.
Yeah.
Poor guy. I feel bad for him. Free Joe Exotic. I think it's a hashtag, actually.
I'm sure it is.
So.
Okay.
Anyway, so Travel Channel this says Thursday night. Watch Ghost Adventures.
I just saw this news on Facebook as I was scrolling through looking for news. IGN posted Ewan McGregor wore his Obi-Wan Kenobi costume on the Mandalorian set today.
Ooh.
So
they're filming like season 3 or something, or
I guess, yeah.
Or maybe it was.
They say he's not gonna cameo. It's kind of just a surprise because they're gonna start filming. They're gonna start filming Obi-Wan here soon. But speaking of Star Wars, Mandalorian season 2 starts up on Friday, the 30th.
Dude, have you seen the new trailer for it?
No, I'm staying away from all trailers. It looks good though. I'm
more excited. The trailer looks really,
Mm-hmm.
really good.
I'm more excited for this season than I was last season. I think. I just hope
I don't care about that stupid Yoda puppet. I want to see some action. I really,
This is the way.
That's just the way I feel about it. So. And Gina Carano is looking especially attractive.
Did they show any of Ahsoka?
Not that I remember, but I wasn't looking for her either. So
Okay, you probably know who Ahsoka is, and I'd
I
probably
do
see
from Rebels. Yeah, she's the one with the white and orange chick, right?
yeah, and I would see a lot more stuff about it on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. People flipping out, but she does make an appearance in the season allegedly.
Allegedly, as Mr. McAfee would say. So yeah, that starts up there's all kinds of stuff starting up here real soon. I mean, just in general, even on like regular TV, I think I saw a commercial for the new Mom season premiere starts up November 11th. So we are starting to get some new programming, which is good. So I'm very excited about the Mandalorian this Friday. Yes.
Speaking of new program, did you guys see they had to shut down the Batman filming again? They had another outbreak.
Again? Because I saw that they shut it down like maybe a month or two ago, and then they restarted it back up, and then so it was just recently.
I'm pretty sure I read they had to shut it down again.
What the heck? This is important.
I know, right? They can't release a trailer and not be filming.
Yeah. Plus, a good trailer as that was.
Yeah.
Why
And
don't they
apparently
just why don't they just work the sickness into the movie? I mean, they've done this. They've done this in the past when Shia LaBeouf he broke his arm or something or tore his arm up in a drunken automobile crash when they made the Transformers, so they wrote it into the film.
I don't know, but that's what they did for Luke and his scar.
That's right. In Empire Strikes Back, you're correct. And also there's an old film with an actor by the name of Jan Michael Vincent. He was on TV's Airwolf. I was a huge Airwolf fan. I loved that. That was a great TV show. Anyway, so he was a drunken alcoholic, and he got in a car accident. He was drinking and driving and got in a car accident. And he was supposed to get beat up in the film anyway. Well, his injuries to his face looked worse than what any makeup artist could have done to him. So that's how they filmed him. So
wow.
in whatever this particular movie is, I forget which one it is, she's just all beat up and scarred up and purple and swollen from a car accident, and it's all like real. So
so I know going a little off topic, but there's a Rick and Morty episode with I forget what episode it was, like season 3 or 2, and they were like making fun of Jan Michael whatever.
Jan Michael Vincent?
Yeah, Jan Michael Vincent, and I had to look up who he was, and apparently he was like on the rise and could have been like a big actor if like stuff didn't happen like that.
Yes. So he was in a TV show in the 80s called Airwolf, and it was it was a popular TV show. That was part of Can't Miss. He basically he stole this helicopter with all these cool rockets on it, and he hid it out in the middle of the desert, and he was like a secret agent kind of thing. And he would go on missions for this as a secret agent and use this helicopter, and it was very popular. But they it was only on for 3 seasons, but it was still a pretty popular show. And I think he left basically because he saw the writing on the wall. He could have been an action star, but he's in Hooper. I think he was in Hooper with he was in Hooper with Burt Reynolds. So he was just in those basic any kind of. He wasn't like super popular, but I think Airwolf was going to launch him into a better situation. But he'd show up at the set drunk all the time and high. He was on pills, and it basically ruined his career.
What's different between him and other actors then?
Well, it affected his work. Kind of like who's the other guy? The guy that was in Heat, and he was in Point Break, and he was in
Keanu Reeves.
No, and he was in Saving Private Ryan.
Patrick Swayze.
No, Patrick Swayze was not in Heat.
Patrick Swayze is a gift from God.
Val Kilmer.
No, Tom Sizemore.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Sizemore.
Don't know who
Ruined
that
his.
is.
He was in Heat. He was in Saving Private Ryan. He was in Point Break. He's been in a lot of different movies. Anyway, his drug and alcohol fueled. He was in Black Hawk Down. He was in Strange Days. He was in Red Planet.
I know who you're talking about. Once
He's
you said
got a
Black
pretty
Hawk
good
Down.
mugshot.
Yeah, but I mean that ruined his career, and I think it did the same thing to Mickey Rourke. These
Nah,
guys.
he was in Expendables. He's good.
He didn't look the same. He was also in The Wrestler, which is that's
yeah.
a very good movie actually,
Yeah.
where he plays a washed-up wrestler.
Uh-huh.
That's a very good movie. But just another one of those. I mean, some guys get away with being drunken buffoon alcoholics. I mean, it almost killed Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
I mean,
Iron Man was like his redemption.
That was his redemption because he was hot in the 80s. I mean, of course, he did all he was in Weird Science, and then he was in Less Than Zero, and he was on a season of Saturday Night Live. Did you know that?
Yeah.
So he was a pretty hot young actor at the time, but he was such a whack job. Didn't he get busted? Didn't he get caught running naked in a neighborhood or something because he was high?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
And he was nominated for an Oscar for Chaplin. He played Charlie Chaplin. If you've not seen that, it's a great performance. I highly recommend seeing Chaplin. But yeah, he was basically he was nobody would touch him in Hollywood. He was like, no, we don't want him. He's not reliable. We can't count on him for anything. Till, like you said, Iron Man redeemed him. Because he is a really, really good actor.
Yeah.
Really,
his movie he did in between the Iron Man movies when he was like a warrior. That was one of his best films. I forget what it's called. It's got his dad in it too.
Robert Downey Sr.?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. Hold on, let me look it up.
Really?
No.
I thought it did.
He did the Sherlock Holmes movie too, didn't he?
Yeah, and I can't wait for the new one. There's supposed to be a third one coming. The Judge is what it was called.
Oh.
That didn't have his dad in it. That had.
I could have sworn it did.
No,
it's Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall. That is they filmed out here in Indiana.
Yeah, I know.
That's a great movie. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Awesome.
This is The Judge is a great movie. And then, of course, Due Date. You cannot discount Due Date either.
That was one of the first movies I bought on Blu-ray.
That's a great movie. They're so funny together in that movie. And of course, he was in Tropic. He was in Tropic Thunder. Where
I was trying to think of a quote, but
he became black did he become black
he's a dude playing another dude disguised as another dude.
He did Zodiac, which is a good movie. He's been in a lot of stuff. I mean,
we could just sit here and gush over Robert Downey Jr. all day.
Well, you guys could. I'm just saying he's just in a lot. He's in Bowfinger. Bowfinger's a funny movie. That's one of Eddie Murphy's most underestimated movies. But he didn't do a lot of his role. Really, one of them that brought him back, because he did Chaplin in '92. He was also in Natural Born Killers as a Jerry Springer type of TV host, and he follows He follows Mickey and Mallory. Is it Mickey and Mallory? He follows them around, and as their serial killers. Hey, Tom Sizemore is in that movie too. How about that? So, if you have not seen Natural Born Killers, it's an Oliver Stone film. It's about the glorifying of serial killers or murderers, and how they glorify them on TV and the news. Is really how it started, and it's right when it started where they started to glorify killers and murderers and stuff. And you had people like Robert Downey Jr.'s character praising them, as a talk show host. He plays like a Australian talk show host. Wayne Gale is his character. So be sure to check out those movies as well.
Shall we take it to sports?
We should go to sports.
We don't have much, but
Just the ending of the Game 4 of the World Series last night, where the Dodgers pulled a Bill Buckner, which, ironically, yesterday was the 34th anniversary of the Buckner game.
what's the Buckner game?
Okay, so backstory on this. Okay, so in 1986, the Boston Red Sox and the New York Mets are playing in the World Series, right? So I heard this as I took a tour of Fenway Park. They told me this story. So all they have to do is get one more out, and the Red Sox are the World Series champions. Okay, it's Game 6, I believe. It's Game 6, and the I think it was it was I don't want to say Mookie Betts, but it's not Mookie Betts. It's not Mookie Blaylock either. It's Mookie Wilson. Hits a ball. I think it's Mookie Wilson. Hits a routine grounder to first base. All Buckner has to do is field the ball, touch first base, and the game is over. So the ball rolls through his legs, and he muffs it. And the Mets score. They win Game 6 and force a Game 7, and then they win Game 7 of the World Series. Okay, now the astonishing story behind this is that Bruce Hurst was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Now, everybody is superstitious as anything because at the time, up until 2004, you had the curse of Babe Ruth. We all heard about the curse of Babe Ruth, right? So Bruce Hurst is having a spectacular World Series. So before the game is even over, they announced Bruce Hurst on the scoreboard at Shea Stadium. Bruce Hurst, 1986 World Series MVP. But you cannot be the MVP of the World Series unless your team wins, which was a little premature, obviously, because the Red Sox did not win the World Series that year. But if you take the letters of Bruce Hurst's names and throw them on the Soul Train scramble board, it spells out B. Ruth Curse. How about that?
Wow.
So 34 years ago last night was the Buckner game where he basically blew the World Series for the Boston Red Sox, and the curse of the Bambino continued on until 2004. So last night it was a sacrifice fly, wasn't it? Out to right field. They muffed it was a sacrifice, but it was a base hit. So they muffed the throw. They muffed the fielding of the ball, and the ball gets away. So they throw it to home. They've got the guy coming home in a pickle because the Rays tied the game up. And with the base hit, they tied the game up. The guy running third to home would have scored the game winning run. So they throw the ball to the catcher. The catcher takes the ball, swipes it over home plate. When he swipes it over home plate, he loses the ball. So the guy who they might have in the pickle from third to home gets up and slides into home plate, and that's it. That's the end of the game.
From what I could tell, there was no need for him to swipe his glove, right?
No,
Yeah.
there was no need whatsoever. So, is it to, everybody's such a conspiracy theorist with people who got money on games more and more often than now, or is it just another Bill Buckner incident 34 years on? Maybe we can forget about the Buckner incident.
Nope, you can never forget about the Buckner incident.
But Google Big Bill Buckner 1986 World Series, and you'll see it. And it was also featured in Fever Pitch, starring Jimmy Fallon. He tortures himself with the Buckner play. So that is so that series is tied up 2-2 as of right now. It probably just started 15, 20 minutes ago since we're recording. Game 5 is on now, and that's from Arlington,
Let's
Texas.
see.
So we've got that going on. Then we can't not talk about the NFC East.
It's not
Can we
the
not?
East. It's the least.
Hey, 2-0.
So who's up?
Dodgers. It's still the first.
Okay. Jeez, they always score first, but they don't make.
You know what? I would have won $100 on a parlay yesterday if the Dodgers won.
Oh no!
Dude, they led most of that game.
I know.
They started out 2-0. So.
I had it was over $100 in my pocket right there, and then someone had to mess it up, and I've actually kind of been pissed.
Well, there you go. Then there you go. The Buckner play 2020. So we can talk about the Eagles sit atop the NFC East at 2-4-1.
Yeah.
The Cowboys are in second at 2-5, and the Washington Redskins.
Football team.
Washington is 2-5. As it sits right now, if the playoffs began right now, the Eagles host a playoff game.
That's bonkers.
So to me, I think we should just go back to 3 divisions, like get 3.
I don't know,
to go back
maybe
to
they
3
should get rid
divisions
of
instead
like
of 4.
2 of those teams and then put in the either what was the XFL teams? Put in the 2 best XFL teams.
No. But the problem, it's almost okay. So if you win your division, you host a playoff game. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, that's how it always has been.
I know, but maybe we shouldn't do that anymore because they don't even
thought
belong
it
in the
was-
playoffs.
Then what's the point of winning your division?
Because
All you got-
when you're 4-12 and you're going to the playoffs and there's a 11-5 team out there that can't make the playoffs because you're 4-12 and you get to go. There's something
Well,
wrong
maybe
with
that
system.
11-5 team should have won their division.
Well, they finished second in their division, but the other teams were 12-4 and they lost out to a team that is 4-12. So that's kind of crappy. That's very crappy.
Maybe they should just do better.
Huh?
Maybe they should just do better.
Maybe you should have a 500 record to be allowed into the playoffs. If you can't make 500.
Yeah.
But hadn't the last few years, didn't we have a 7-9 team make the playoffs?
Yeah, that was the year of the Marshawn Rumble.
What?
The what?
Yeah, well, when the Seahawks made it at 7-9, that was the year Marshawn Lynch ate up the Saints defense
I see.
for the Marshawn Rumble or whatever it's called.
Did that start the Saints' bad luck in the playoffs?
Yeah.
Okay. Because past few seasons, they've always had that one play that just ruined.
I mean, they should have never been put in the spot. They were down. They should never have let the Rams be that close if they wanted to win that game. Let's be honest.
So, it is a bad day for a team to be named after an animal, unless you are the Detroit Lions. Did you see this play? So, the Falcons. The Falcons have been falconing all year long. They can't get any more bad luck. So today, Todd Gurley, their Falcons are driving down the Falcons are driving down the field, and if they score a touchdown, they take the lead. But they don't. they don't want to score too early because they don't leave time on the clock. So Todd Gurley runs the ball, right? And he's trying to stop before he gets to the goal line, and he trips and stumbles and falls into the end zone. And,
oh my gosh.
Makes the go-ahead touchdown, right? But it gives Detroit too much time, and frickin' Stafford throws a touchdown with 11 seconds left in the game, and the Lions beat the Falcons.
It's like the I'm not too mad because I have Todd Gurley on one of my fantasy teams,
But
so it doesn't bother me.
but don't get that close to the goal line if you're gonna stumble and fall into the end zone.
Well, he's done it before when he was with the Rams.
The
He would,
Rams?
stop right before the touchdown.
Right. So I found that quite humorous. So it's been an interesting football season. Who else? The Titans missed a 46-yard field goal, a 46-yard field goal, and lost to the Steelers in the last seconds of the game.
I
The
don't know,
Steelers,
it's kind of a bad look for Goskowski.
the Steelers are they the only undefeated team right now?
No, no. It's the I think. Oh wait, I thought the Bears were undefeated. But
No, they've lost a game.
yeah, it's the
So-
Boston Colts.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the crazy part. Like
Look,
the Patriots got blown out by the 49ers today. So it's like any team can win on any given day, really. You don't know which team's going to. The Raiders got blown out at home. They got beat 45-20 by the Tampa Bay. So you really don't know which team.
I mean, the Raiders gave the Chiefs their first loss also.
Exactly. That's what doesn't make sense. And then the Chiefs. Did you catch the game today? The Chiefs and the Broncos.
No.
huh.
Did you? The flea flicker was my favorite play of the game.
Who won?
Oh, the Chiefs, they blew
Chiefs,
them out.
oh,
it
yeah.
was a nightmare. Denver couldn't do it. So Denver does a flea flicker, right? So
Yeah.
he runs towards the line of scrimmage and flicks the ball back to the quarterback and he throws it over his head. So the Chiefs recover that fumble and turn that into a touchdown. It's which I hate the Broncos anyway, so I'm glad. But I don't like the Chiefs either, but the Raiders beat the Chiefs. So
I mean, you're a Raiders fan, so I wouldn't,
it's hard to
expect
root for either team, but it's when it's a comedy of errors for the Broncos, I'll take that all day long, regardless of who they play.
Seahawks is the other undefeated team.
Oh, okay. They play the Cardinals
And
tonight.
They just
Uh,
scored because I got a notification because I have a face.
And the
Russell Wilson.
Jets is the only winless team.
That's right. It's the second time since like 2004, I believe. I read that somewhere. So the Jets are very Jet-like.
I mean, the Jets are the new Browns.
The Browns. So did you see the stat that Baker Mayfield put up today?
No, I
One
saw he
intercept-
had a game-winning touchdown.
One interception and no yards at the end of the first quarter.
But they still won.
What?
He threw 5 touchdowns in the game. So,
Jeez. But did you see that Odell might be hurt? They think he has an injured knee.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, who didn't Antonio Brown just sign with? Did he sign with Tampa?
The Bucks. Yep, the Bucks.
What a piece of crap!
Oh God.
Oh, and the Jets
Yeah.
are 0-7, second time in franchise history. The other time was 1996. But yeah, he signed a 1-year deal with the Buccaneers, and that just creams my corn. I just freaking can't stand him. What a jerkwad. He jerked the Raiders around all last year. The only reason
Oh,
he did
yeah.
that was so he could get out of Pittsburgh. I just hate people like that. He ranks up there with, I can say this, he ranks up there, in my opinion, with Randy Moss.
So
So
maybe call Tim.
he's that kind. Go ahead. I don't care because he's that kind of player. So, yeah, that's what's going on. So it's been a crazy football season. And then I guess we can throw out my, as a racing fan, my season is over with the season finale today on the streets of St. Petersburg, Florida. The Indy cars, it was down to the wire for the championship between Joseph Newgarden and Scott Dixon. Newgarden did what he had to do. He won the race, but Scott Dixon finished third. So Scott Dixon won his 6th IndyCar championship, which puts him in pretty amazing company. AJ Foyt is a 7-time IndyCar champion, so he is 1 championship away from tying AJ Foyt. And Mario Andretti only won 4 IndyCar championships. So that tells you the kind of people he ranks up there with as probably one of the greatest race car drivers of all time. Um, it was a race that nobody wanted to win today. Alexander Rossi, the 2016 Indy 500 winner, led like 60 laps. And he just lost it in turn one and hit the wall for no reason. And then the whole comedy of errors continued. His teammate, James Hinchcliffe, spun on a yellow flag and knocked his front wing off. And he could have won the race. And their teammate, Colton Herta, drove into the tires. So he could have won the race. So it was just what was it? Paul Tracy, IndyCar champion Paul Tracy, does announcing for NBC Sports, says, "We haven't seen anything this bizarre since the Tiger King," which I think is one of the greatest quotes I've heard Paul Tracy say. So that's how crazy that was. Thank God IndyCar season's over. There were 20,000 fans allowed into the race today. So they did good racing in front of people. So that's good. And in 5 months, they will be racing back on the streets of St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg, Florida is usually the season opening race. And they got it pushed back till the end of the season. So in a short 5 months, they'll be back on the streets of St. Pete. Google it, look it up, go to it. It's a great race. It's a lot of fun. It's a very carnival circus type atmosphere. So if you've never been to a street race before, I highly suggest it. And IndyCar's put the best show on as far as racing is concerned. So there you go. So there's your IndyCar wrap up for 2020. They're supposed to test at the Speedway this Thursday. So since my schedule is 4 days a week, I was able to trade with somebody who had Thursday off. So I have Thursday off. And I look at the forecast, and it's a 90% chance of rain for this Thursday. So I will probably not be going down to the Speedway this Thursday to watch IndyCar testing. So that's basically, I think that's all I've got. I got nothing else for y'all. Does anybody else have anything they want to add to the program?
Nothing official. I got a shower thought.
Do we have a shower thought, Mikey, please?
We always got. I'll try to keep it spooky. So, if a morgue worker dies, they'd still need to come into work one more time.
Jesus.
All right. Well, we end it on that note. For the morgue worker who goes to the work one last time, please check us out on all available streaming platforms we are on. We may be expanding to more. Chris, you don't know that yet, but
okay.
we might be expanding to more platforms.
If anybody wants us on anything else, just let us know.
Yes.
We're open to doing it.
But right now we are on YouTube. We are on Apple, iTunes, and Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. You can hear us on all those platforms. And as nerds go, that's us. And we're the true Hoosier nerds today because we're all from Indiana in the small.
Not that imposter Tim.
Not the imposter.
New Bedford.
He's super sus.
So, if you ever want to go to Kokomo and see Mikey and the two Chris's, you'll never have to ask, who's your nerds?
Jesus.